Sussex and BBC Surrey, and hundreds of women are set to protest in Parliament today to demonstrate against increases to the age at which they can start claiming their state pension. The charity Age UK, which is organising the event, warned that the government's plan to raise the state pension age to 66 by the year 2020, 6 years earlier than previously planned, doesn't give people enough time to plan and risks plunging thousands of women into poverty. Our expert on this is Jennie Kreser, who's a partner and head of pensions at Silverman Sherliker in London. She joins me now. Hi, Jennie.
Hi, Danny.
We always come to you when we want wisdom on pensions.
That's very kind of you.
So, this whole thing about moving the pension age and moving pension age up and bringing it forward, is that really going to present people with a problem?
I think for some women, yes, it will. Unfortunately, there are going to be winners and losers, as is so often the case in these situations. But for those women who have now or will now find themselves having to wait potentially 2 or more years for their state pension when they were expecting to get it, we've known for a little while now that the state pension age was going to go up. I mean, this is no surprise, and European law requires it effectively. So we've known that was going to happen. But what has happened recently is that timetable has been escalated. So instead of
who's escalated that? Europe or the UK government?
This is the UK government has.
So they don't need to do it, do they? If they didn't want to.
Not in terms of once it gets equalised. So the thing that Europe is requiring is that the age that men and women get their state pension is the same.
Right. So that's 66.
And that's going to be 65 from 2018,
mm-hmm.
and then from 2018 to 2020. It's going to gradually increase for both men and women to 66.
But it was the UK government's decision to bring it from 2026 for women to 2020?
Correct.
Why have they done that?
Essentially, I think it's unsurprisingly a question of cost. Generally speaking, of course, women live longer than men. That is, one of those things perhaps. And so, consequently, a pension gets paid for a lot longer for women than for men on the whole. And so with women previously being able to get their pension at age 60 and yet still maybe surviving happily, as we're all living longer, to maybe 85 or even 90, you would have been looking at 30 years worth of state pension effectively having to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're in a mess. We know that. The coffers are empty, as the famous note left on the desk of the Chancellor
yes.
made it very clear. And so savings have got to be made. And one way of making savings, of course, is to reduce the number of years that a state pension is paid for. And how do you do that? Well, you're not going to, kill off your population. That's one way of doing it. It's a little drastic. The other way of doing it, of course, is to raise the age before which you can get your pension. So it's not paid for quite as long. Okay,
but is it unfair to women who've been working, through their working lives, and they're maybe in their mid-50s now, and suddenly, not only are they, working considerably longer, but we've known that was coming, but also the time they've got to plan an alternative in terms of their finances has been brought forward 6 years. That's a big chunk, isn't it?
It is a long time, and as we know, women often have much more broken work records, so their national insurance payments may have been broken during childbearing years. A lot of women, of course, paid a reduced married woman's stamp, which could also have the effect of reducing the amount of state pension that they might get. So then to be told, this is yet another nail in the coffin, if you like, could very much cause some difficulties to women who were planning to work. They knew they had to work a bit longer, but suddenly they've been given another couple of years. Now, interestingly, I'm actually at a conference today where Steve Webb has just finished speaking. Steve Webb is the pension minister. And he has announced to this conference, although I suspect it's not a secret, that the government are aware, obviously a lot of women marching on government today, the government is aware of this issue and this almost cliff edge that a lot of women, about thousands.
So did he say they were going to do anything about it?
Well, they're going, apparently the government is, to use his words, going to reflect on the plight of those women who will have to wait an extra 2 years or more for their state pension to kick in. So
what do you read between the lines of "will reflect"?
That's
I mean, give me your best guess, Jenny.
I think that they may seek to modify this a little bit. On top of that, Steve Webb did say there is a pensions bill currently going through Parliament at the moment. Now, it was due to have its second reading today. That has now been delayed. Now, I'm not saying that the reason it's being delayed is because they are going to amend the legislation to do something about what the march is all about today. I obviously don't have that sort of inside information, but it is interesting that the bill is being delayed for whatever reason through its passage through Parliament, which just might give the government the opportunity, if they are going to reflect, to actually then reflect it in the legislation. But, that is pure speculation.
I'm taking that as a slight positive from the way you've framed it there, Jenny. I'll take that as a little bit of a positive. Okay. How much do you think this might cost a woman on her pension? This whole delay, delaying it a year, bringing it forwards, is it actually going to cost people out of their pocket, do you think?
Well, obviously, I mean, if a woman is not getting the state pension of whatever it is, about £130 odd a week for a single person, or sorry, for a married person, obviously that is 24 months worth of those payments, potentially, I suppose, which could be lost because of the delay.
So what would that be? I don't know, £10,000, something like that?
Yeah, I must admit I've not crunched the figures. So,
okay, all right.
But it's chunky money for a lot of people.
Sure. Do you think this? Women can rightly feel hard done by here, that they've been picked on with having the age range and it being brought forward?
I think for some women, yes, I think there is no doubt that for those women whose birthday just falls on the wrong side of the cut-off point, there is very much an argument to say that they have been hard done by. Having said that, though, I think we do have to recognise that, if there is going to be a cut-off point, there is always somebody that is going to be on the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
That is just the way these things work. Now, I'm sure that there are very clever strategists somewhere who will be able to say, we can do this in a better way, so that the effect is minimised. And I hope that that's what the government will be reflecting on.
Okay, yes, they have got time to reflect. Okay, good. Jenny, great insight as always. Thank you very much.
Great pleasure.
Nice to speak to you. Bye now. Jennie Kreser, lawyer from Sutton and partner and head of pensions at Silverman Sherliker